The Zambia We Want Party has defended its decision to expel Wupeponga, Kapambwe Simbao, Muhabi Lungu, dismissing claims of an unconstitutional vote of no confidence as misleading and without legal basis. The council further argues that such actions triggered an automatic cessation of membership under Article 13, Part 1C of the party constitution. However, Mr. Lungu argues otherwise and says, according to the very constitution, it is not possible for an elected member to be expelled. This is what we're discussing on tonight's edition of This Day. My guest is Charles Mutambala. He is the Zambia We Want spokesperson. We find out what this means for the already opposition that seems to be in disarray, but also what this means for the August general elections. Mr. Charles Mutambala, the Zambia We Want spokesperson, thank you so much for making the time to speak with us on this day tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You expelled Mr. Lungu and other party members. I'd like to find out what made you arrive at this decision to have them expelled.
We didn't expel anyone. They expelled themselves. According to our constitution regarding membership, if any member happens to join, associate, align themselves with a political party or political formation without the express permission, authorization from the National Leadership Council, that member expels themselves, or that member moves out of the party by their own volition. So we don't tolerate a situation where members can willy-nilly align themselves, associate themselves, or join political formations without the terms and conditions stipulated or laid down in our party constitution. So those three people, by doing what they did, chose to move out of the party.
Probably let's now begin to put things into context. Who did they align themselves with, or which political party did they associate with that made you arrive at that decision?
First of all, I have with me an excerpt of from the Zambia Watchdog, which was published online, and it reads as follows. Council of Elders Political Party elects Kapambwe Simbao as presidential candidate. The political party led by former University of Zambia lecturer, Dr. Neil Simtani, and former ZESCO board chairman, Derek Chitala, as elected Zambia We Want president, Kapambwe Simbao as presidential candidate. Now, we were not privy to how this was generated. It was Mr. Muhabi Lungu who posted this particular item on our official blog. And the intention for him to post it there was for us to see and also to know what had transpired. He posted it proudly. And when we got the opportunity to read and understand what was going on, we were quite disturbed. We felt this is not the way things ought to be. Now, in the political party, we don't elect a president that has appetite to be president in 3, 2, or 5 political parties. We elect a president on political party. And now that president seems to have appetite for being president here and there that we cannot stomach. And this is coming from the background where in the Zambia we want, since rather post the election time in October. We have seen this party being dragged into some formations called alliances, called United Front Alliance. Then all of a sudden, oh, let's go to Waza. We are now Waza, or from there, oh, now this is the Fourth Republic Alliance. So now we were watching and thought maybe things would come to normalcy, but they never did. And so, as responsible patriotic citizens who believe that this particular party, the Zambia we want, was raised and founded in order to provide the Zambian people an alternative government in waiting, we felt we were being very unhelpful to the Zambian people that deserve a better choice. Because we believe this is a party of choice for the Zambian people. Its manifesto and constitution are second to none. And therefore, the Zambian people deserve to have the Zambia we want as a standalone entity in this election. Now, how do you align yourself to an organization that is not even registered? You try to make a registered organization become subservient to an organization that is just existing up there in the air and has no recognition by the laws of Zambia. That is unthinkable, and that is something that we cannot tolerate. And therefore, we allowed these people to go ahead and become presidents in whatever parties they wanted or whatever formations they wanted. That's it.
Before we can get into details of their reaction to your position, you mentioned earlier on that the way you found out was by checking what they had posted or what was posted on the Zambian watchdog. Is this the only?
What was posted official blog by Mr. Mwansa? It is him who posted what I've read. He posted it on our official page.
Or he posted it on your official page?
Yes.
I'm meant to believe that your party is well structured and well organized in terms of hearing some of the challenges that the party members go through. Isn't there a proper channel where disciplinary actions must be taken for erring members before ultimately dismissing them, either by automatic cessation of them being members or probably by going through a normal channel of disciplinary action?
Of course there is, but impunity has its own consequences. And as I have highlighted earlier, you jump from one alliance to another alliance to another alliance, and yet on the ground, the party is left, without any form of leadership being provided. Okay, you're on TV, you're on radio, but you know what? People don't live on television. People don't live on radio. People are on the ground. That's where the rubber meets the road. And so the impression you're giving is that you don't care about the party, or what you care is about you having a position in these alliances. That's the interpretation. And again, the mandate or the vision of the Zambia we want, as earlier alluded to, was to seek the mandate from the Zambian people so that it is bequeathed with the position of being the government in waiting. But instead of that, these colleagues, out of impunity, disregarded that and went on shopping around for alliances. And those alliances with political parties that are also tottering and looking around for affirmation and whatever. So you, instead of going to seek a mandate from the Zambian people or the electorate, you go to seek affirmation from political parties that are also in limbo. That cannot be accepted. You know, in 2021, by that time, this party was called Z. We were in the process of changing that name from Z to the Zambia we want, because that's the original name, the Zambia we want, except we had to look for a vehicle that we could use specifically for the 2021 elections. So that vehicle, which was availed by Dr. Mutesa, was Z. But we had intended that at an appropriate time, we will change the name from Z to Zambia we want. Because Zambia we want is not just a slogan. It's not just a name. It is something that is pregnant with destiny for the Zambian people against the Zambia we are. It's a rebel against the Zambia we are. And so the Zambia we want needs space on the Zambian political landscape, but it was denied that. And so you see people going to seek validation instead of seeking mandate. No, being a founder of the Zambia we want, I can excuse those people that just joined us midway and they begin to pontificate as though they were founders of this party. They are not. And it is not good for anyone to pontificate that they are founders of this political party when they are not. If a party is founded in 2021, then you come and join in 2024 or 2025, and then you go about around as though you're the founder of the political party. That is wrong. It is lack of integrity. And so we are correct so that people can have the benefit of this political party.
In principle, the Zambian people have been calling for you, the opposition, to unite and have one candidate ahead of the elections on the 13th of August. Don't you think it's going against the principle that the Zambians want, if you're going to expel your members based off the fact that they're trying by all means to unite the other political parties to ensure that there is one formation going into this election? Isn't the Zambia you want, Mr. Mutambala, for the opposition to unite?
Thank you for that question. The Zambia we want, that I represent as spokesperson and being a founder member, is for unity, but not uniformity. Yeah, so by that I mean, if you understand the Zambian political landscape, you would know that the center of power for the opposition is the Patriotic Front. Any other political formation or any other political party, they are not serious contenders. And I'm not saying that out of conjecture, but out of the results that have been churning out during election time. And so, if you are talking about opposition unity, if you're really concerned about opposition unity, then your energies must be expended on uniting the Patriotic Front, because the Patriotic Front is fragmented, if not in 2, 3, or 4 factions. And they are the ones that desperately need to be brought together so that that vote from the Patriotic Front can be secured. And now, when you forgo this onerous task of uniting the Patriotic Front as the first step towards uniting the opposition, and you spend time on political parties that have never recorded not even 1% of the vote. I'm not saying that as a disparaging remark, but that is factual and actual. And so when you spend your time since election time, it was, I mean, this is more than 6 months. You spend your energy 6 months going around circles and chasing after political parties that have failed to record even 1% of the vote. And you leave the political party that is fragmented and that has people, then your work and your effort is in futility. And therefore, for a person like me or people like us, we look at a larger picture. We are not straight-jacketed or narrow-minded. We are strategic thinkers and strategic managers. And we believe that in the absence of the patriotic front, the Zambian people still deserve to have an option. And that option lies in the Zambia we want, standing as a standalone entity. And that is not disrespect for the wishes of the Zambian people. No, it is honoring their desire to have an alternative government in waiting. And anyone that veers off this route to begin to go around circles like headless chicken will not be tolerated for the sake of our patriotism to this nation. It is a serious business. It is something which is not child play. No.
The last thing that the Zambian people want is for you to see, for them to see you fight as opposition. Mr. Muhabilungu has advised that there's going to be an address on the 20th of this month, which you are invited to. Will you attend this meeting? It's meant to believe that it's some form of dialogue that must happen in order for you to fix the differences that you have. Will you attend this meeting?
Thank you once again for that question. In all fairness, and with respect to procedures that ought to be followed in a situation like the one that we have, is that Mr. Mwabilungu at the moment is not in a position to call for a meeting. What is obtaining on the ground is this. We don't have a chairperson in office. We don't have a presidential candidate in office. And we don't have a secretary general in office. What we have is the vice chairperson. And according to our constitution, in the absence of the chairperson, the vice chairperson can call for a meeting. We are not against calling for a meeting where we put our heads together. No, those three are not our enemies. We are going to have a meeting with the exclusion of the three people that are under discussion as of now. That meeting is going to be held, but not to be called by Mr. Mwabilungu. It doesn't just augur well with good, or rather with good corporate governance. It doesn't. And so we have a lot of brothers and sisters that did not append their signatures to allow for the three people to have their field day in shopping around for alliances. Yeah, but those people are still members of the Zambia we want, and they deserve every right to be brought into the loop in order for them to have the first-hand information of what is obtaining. We respect their right to be in the know, and therefore the meeting is going to be held, and that meeting has to be called by the acting chairperson, who is the substantive vice chairman.
The last meeting that you held to make a determination on the fate of these three, who convened the meeting, and did you meet the quorum before arriving at the decision to have them leave the party?
Yes, sir. The last meeting that was held was convened by the acting chairman, who is the substantive vice chairperson. To be of help to you and also to the public, let me say this. After the elections of the National Leadership Council, it comprised 34 members. And post the election time, 4 of our colleagues opted to move out for their own special reasons. And that left us with 30 members, yes. And out of the 30 members, unfortunately, one of our members passed on, so rest in peace. And that left the NLC with 29 members. And so the 29 members that were left, out of the 29, 15 made that decision. And they made the decision because the quorum, the threshold to form the quorum, was reached. And the threshold to reach the quorum is 1/3 of 29 people. 1/3 of 29 people translates to 9.6 people. But we were more and above the 9 people, the 9.6 people or members. We were 15. And that's how we reached at this decision, because legally and constitutionally, we reached that threshold that is required for any binding decision to be undertaken by the NLC.
When did you say the meeting is going to be had again? For obviously, part of the meeting, the agenda of the meeting is possible reconsideration of readmitting these members, in the party. Am I wrong?
I don't want to preempt the agenda because I am not the official responsible for drawing the agenda. But all what I can say is that a meeting is going to be held for all the National Leadership Council. And we are going to discuss all pertinent issues in order to chart the way forward, because time is of the essence.
Have the 3 members written back to the party, to the council, in regards to them exculpating themselves over those decisions they made?
Unfortunately, they have not. According to our constitution, when you are served with any disciplinary letter or form of communication, you are given 10 days to exculpate yourself. But that 10 days, before the 10 days elapsed, we saw Mr. Mwansa go to every television station, radio station, and started making disparaging remarks and even insinuations to the effect that we, the people that took that decision, have been bought probably by the UPND government, which is a blue lie. The UPND government has not bought any one of us. How could the UPND government spend a dime on the Zambia we want that had absconded and even abdicated its responsibility of moving forward and becoming the party of choice for the Zambian people? No, the UPND government has not bought any one of us. If there are Zambians that have been bought, none of us in the Zambia we want have been bought. Trust me. That's a lie.
Mr. Lungu has...
They opted for the opposite and started doing whatever they've been doing in both the electronic media as well as the print media. So that also is up to the public to judge.
Well, probably they took the route they've taken because you also publicly in the media announced their expulsion from the party, and so the only plausible way was for them to exculpate themselves in the eyes of the Zambian people through the media.
That was not done. The announcement was not done. I think it was just a leakage.
Mr. Lungu.
What happened was when we were in the process of appending signatures, one of us leaked that information to one of the three, or maybe to the three, yes. And that's when this started happening. And so it was not us that officially did that. There was someone that leaked that information, and then that's what started happening or going on. So, yeah. So it's up to the public, to the court of public opinion to make a determination as to.
I'd like to get your reaction to what Mr. Lungu said. He said that he rejected the expulsion, first of all. He described it as unconstitutional and procedurally flawed. That you didn't follow the right procedure before their expulsion.
The word expulsion is not correct. Yeah, the word expulsion is not correct. You know, in the Zambia we want, as I earlier alluded to, voluntary association with other political parties or organizations without express permission from the National Leadership Council is an automatic cessation of membership. This is according to Article 81, Clause 1. So when a member does that, the consequence for that is already stipulated in the Constitution. So invocation of that does not amount to expulsion. No. If you want to insist on using the word expulsion, then they expel themselves.
Who comprises of the National Leadership Council that you have? Is it an elected body, or perhaps it's a body that has been appointed by the president?
No, for us, the president is not king. He doesn't appoint nobody. It's an elected body.
And the presidency?
Presidency?
But maybe also help us understand the structure of power within your political party. What special powers does a president have or can make without approval of the body? Are there any?
To be very frank with you, the Zambia Want came into being in order to cure the mischief of idol worship, or not idol worship, but personality cult, where you have a president as a messiah, where you have all the powers reposed into a president. Ours is devolution of power, power that is shared amongst equals. And so the president is just occupying a position on the basis of trust, but is not above any one of us. And the head of the organization, who runs the organization, is the chairperson. The president is specifically there to be a flag bearer to contest elections for a particular term of office. Yes. And so the president is not the administrator. No. The one that is responsible for that is the chairperson, who is the head of the party.
So now,
we did it like that because out of hindsight, we are coming from UNIT to the MMD, to the Patriotic Front, and to the United National Development, the UPND, sorry, the UPND. We have learned lessons, and because of the lessons that we have learned, we had to put together a constitution that allows for devolution of power so that no particular individual is looked up to like a god.
At the moment, is the Zambia we want part of any political alliance at the moment?
No. At the moment, we don't belong to any political alliance. WAZA is not, we don't belong to WAZA. But I'm sure, I saw the other day, the former Secretary General posted something where it was supposed to appear on your television in the morning. He posted it, and his designation was Secretary General for WAZA. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We have no quarrel with that because we don't belong to WAZA. He does. And so, at the moment, the Zambia we want is an alliance in itself. Because listen to this. There is no alliance out there that will field a candidate, or no candidate is going to stand on any particular election on the ballot, or will be on the ballot on any alliance. No alliance, because there is no alliance out there that is legal.
Are there any plans?
The Zambia we want, the Zambia we want, strategically is here as an alliance in itself. Any Zambian that wants to identify themselves with the Zambia we want, they are welcome. They are welcome. You have the UPND alliance. Why is it standing? It is standing because it is an appendage to the UPND, which is registered. So the Zambia we want alliance, there is a possibility for us to move in that direction, where other political parties that want to identify with us because of the strength of our vision, the strength of our constitution, they are free and at liberty to align with us so that together we can march.
Are there plans to join, or perhaps, because, well, it's argued that no single political party at the moment has the political clout to unseat the current establishment, and that if there's any possibility of the opposition getting to form government, then they'll have to unite on one candidate. Are you speaking to other political parties in terms of possible alliances as Zambia we want?
First of all, I'd love you to understand that our focus is not removing HH from office. Our focus is asking the Zambians for the mandate to trust us and to accept us as the alternative government in waiting. That's our focus. So those that are focused on removing HH by whatever means, let them go ahead and do that. Our focus is going to the Zambian people. That's our focus. The Zambian people are the major stakeholder. That's our focus. We're going to the Zambian people to tell them, here we are. Time for crying is over. Time for hoping and praying for a party of choice is over, because God has answered your prayers. Here we are. This is the vehicle that God has provided at such a time as this, so that the Zambian people can have a choice to make. And so we are poised and very committed to that ideal.
Besides you wanting to unite and obviously being given a mandate, the Zambians have got very serious questions to ask. That what solutions do you have to the current pressing economic challenges that the Zambians have? Do you have a manifesto? Do you have a blueprint for removing Zambians out of the abject poverty that they've been subjected to for decades?
Yes, sir, we do. You know, let me go back to the genesis of the Zambia we want. The Zambia we want is a concept that was mooted on an online blog called The Systems of Government, where intellectuals, politicians, technocrats, and Zambians of all walks of life came together to debate the best system that can help Zambia be propelled in the right direction expeditiously. And because of that, several ideas were churned out. One of the ideas that came out of that is that the fund to the world in order to allow for the people on the ground to have a say in their development. So the UPND took that during the time when we were partners with the UPND, and so they took that and took the Constituency Development Fund to the world. That's an idea from the Zambia we want. That's our idea. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because we have well thought out ideas that are well entrenched based on our history and the current happenings, projecting our nation into the future so that we can have that desired prosperity for not only ourselves, but also posterity, so that we bequeath posterity with a Zambia that they can be proud of. And when they look back, they can say our parents, our grandparents did the best that they could for giving us a Zambia that is prosperous. And so we have very brilliant ideas. Our manifesto, as I said earlier on, is second to none. Trust me.
The UPND are going into this election prepared according to what they say. They say they have achieved more than 90% of what they had promised the Zambian people. They are going into this election with an economy that has been fixed. This is according to the president. An economy that is growing at an average of 5.4%, with inflation having reduced to 7.1%, with the exchange rate having stabilized now around 19.84 to a dollar. And so they say that the macroeconomic indicators are already pointing in the right direction, and Zambia is ready for takeoff in terms of development. How are you going to beat these numbers as the Zambia we want? What more are you promising the Zambian people better than what the UPND have done already for the Zambian people?
First of all, those statistics that you have given us are not new to Zambia. Hello? They are not new to Zambia. It's not like this is happening for the very first time. Let me tell you this. Since 1976, the Zambian economy had plummeted to negative growth. Not until 1998. That's when 1% of 1% positive growth was recorded. That was 7 years after MMG embarked upon the structural adjustment program and then graduated it to EPIC. So the first positive 1% economic growth was recorded in 1998. You know what? Let me ask a rhetorical question. What is much easier to do for a person that is driving a vehicle? Is it to get it into the ditch or have it out of the ditch? I think the easiest thing is to put it into the ditch than to put it out. And so it took the MMD 7 years. 7 years. By the way, I'm a Bible believer, and I believe 7 is a number of completion. And so it took them 7 years to record positive 1% since 1976. And so by the time the first MMD administration left office, the figures were about 3% thereabout. And so the trajectory of economic growth was set in motion by the MMD. One doesn't need to be a rocket scientist to understand that. So we are treading this path that we have treaded before, because during the MMD, even the exchange rate, the inflation rate, and all those pointers to a good economic management were even far and above what we are obtaining at the moment. So there is nothing new about what is being said. But the problem is this. Governance is not just about the economy. Governance is holistic. It's about the economy. It's about social issues. It's about political issues. and also by and large issues to do with that which is intangible or the spiritual or whatever. Yes. And so when people are complaining that there is selective justice, that's not development. When people are complaining that there is corruption, that's not development. When people are complaining that there is tribalism, that's not development. When people are complaining that there is nepotism, that's not progress. When people are complaining that the political space for political players has diminished, that's not development or progress to be proud of. You know, I remember those days, Vasatangawalu Sama election. The following week, all the come to trial instead of going to court to petition the election. Why? Because the MMD, the mother of democracy, didn't just talk the talk, but also walked the talk. So development must be looked at from a broader perspective. And Zambia deserves that, where the people must not only feel that they are making progress, but they're making progress in the area of the economy, in the social sectors, and also the political sectors. They must not only hear about it, but they must feel it themselves. By the way, the positive economic indicators that you have alluded to have not trickled down to the people because the cost of living has skyrocketed. The cost of millennium has skyrocketed. The cost of water has skyrocketed. So, what benefit is there for us? I'm saying, for instance, because the MMD did a good job, jealous down. They did a good job. When the MMD came into office, they found terms of public transport. When they found problems of public transport, what did they do? They had to forgo tariffs on importation of motor vehicles for public service. The government were not crazy about taxation, benefiting from the tax from the Zambian people. No, they allowed business people to buy as many vehicles as possible so as to cure the problem of transport or lack of transport. And that problem was sorted out once and for all. And even today, motor vehicles wait for people instead of people waiting for motor vehicles. That is governance. That is governance that trickles down to the needs of the people.
Mr. Mutambala, in conclusion, besides having to provide food on the table for the Zambian people, what the Zambian people are asking for are more freedoms. The UPND have played their part. They've introduced many laws that enhance our democracy. For example, they've abolished the death penalty, but also they have introduced the access to information law that enables Zambians to hold its government accountable. I'd like to find out if there are any plans from the Zambia we want to enhance our democracy.
Thank you, sir, for that question. The UPND government has given in one hand and taken in the other hand, taken away in the other hand. The Zambian people are living in fear because of the cybersecurity and crime, whatever laws that they have put in place. They are like, whereby the nation has become like a police state. And people are being accused of seditious practices and whatever. So it borders on taking away the freedoms and liberties of the people. So when the Zambia we want comes into office, we will revisit these particular laws in order to restore the freedom for the people of Zambia and liberties for the people of Zambia. And we mean business, and you can trust us. And the Zambian people, this is the time that you have always looked forward to. And it's the time that God is giving Zambia a new beginning. In my hand, I have a trumpet. And this is the sign which has a prophetic meaning. It's a sign to announce to the nation that Zambia deserves a new beginning. that Zambia is on the threshold to usher in a new start. And that new start lies with the Zambia we want. And so be ready, because the trumpet shall sound, and those that have ears must hear. And they must hear that this is the direction that God wants this nation to move into. Zambia is a Christian nation. And when we come into office, we shall build God a house. And when you build God a house, you first of all deal with the spiritual in order for the economical, political, and whatever to fall in place. First things first, we shall build God a house. And the trumpet is sounding. When they shout, "Sort son," as it's fucker volume. Volume son. Fucker volume. Volume son. Thank you, and God bless you.
Mr. Charles Mutambala, the Zambia We Want spokesperson, thank you so much for having made the time to speak with the Zambian people on tonight's edition of The Stay.
Thank you, sir, and God bless the nation.